The room went quiet when Marcus Chen laughed. Not a friendly laugh, the kind that makes everyone else laugh too, because they're scared to stay silent. Naomi Clark stood at the front of the conference room, holding her report steady. Her hands did not shake. Her voice did not break.
Let's stay focused,
she said calmly. Marcus leaned back in his chair, eyes dragging over her body. Focused, he scoffed. Maybe if we didn't hire fat pigs to do serious work, this company would actually grow. The laughter came fast, loud, comfortable. Naomi noticed something important. No one defended her. No one looked away either. She nodded once, like she was accepting feedback. Then she continued the presentation. What Marcus didn't know, what no one in that room knew, was that this building was no longer owned by Greenfield Industries. It had been purchased quietly. No announcements, no headlines. And the man who now owned it was watching this meeting in silence, his expression unreadable. Yoon Sung-hyung didn't react to insults. He reacted to patterns, and Naomi Clark had just shown him something rare. She stayed calm in a room designed to break her. 6 days later, Marcus Chen would be escorted out of this same building with his belongings in a cardboard box. Before we begin this journey, if you're watching from anywhere in the world, Lagos, London, Los Angeles, drop a comment and let me know where you're tuning in from. Hit that subscribe button for love and tension, because what happens next will make you question everything you thought you knew about justice and power. The fluorescent lights in Greenfield Industries' hallway flickered as Naomi gathered her scattered papers from the conference room floor. Her knees protested as she knelt. At 240 pounds, getting down was easy. Getting back up required strategy and dignity she didn't currently possess. Need a forklift? Marcus's voice echoed from behind her. She didn't turn around. 3 years at this company had taught her that engagement only fed the beast. She collected the last spreadsheet and stood, her burgundy blazer stretching across her shoulders, a blazer she'd spent 3 hours picking out last Sunday because she'd wanted to feel powerful. She felt anything but powerful now. "I'm talking to you, Clark." Marcus moved closer, and she could smell his Tom Ford cologne, the expensive kind that men like him wore like armor. "You know, there's a gym on the 5th floor. Might want to check it out. Company benefit." Naomi's jaw clenched. "I'm aware of the amenities, Marcus." "Are you? Because you look like you've been taking advantage of the cafeteria benefits instead." He laughed, that particular laugh that made her skin crawl. "How much do you weigh anyway? 220? 240? That's inappropriate workplace conduct," Naomi said quietly, her voice steady despite the rage building in her chest. "What's inappropriate is representing this company looking like that." Marcus gestured vaguely at her body. "Clients see you and think we don't have standards." Something inside Naomi cracked. Not broke, cracked, like ice before it shatters completely. "I'm going to HR," she said, moving past him. His hand shot out, gripping her arm. "You're not going anywhere. You think Sarah in HR gives a damn? She hired you to fill a quota, Clark. Everyone knows it. You're the diversity hire who can't even present numbers without stuttering." Naomi yanked her arm free, paper scattering again. "Don't touch me." "Or what?" Marcus stepped closer, his breath hot on her face. "You'll sit on me? That would probably be fatal." The hallway security camera recorded everything. Naomi didn't notice it. Marcus didn't care about it. But 7 floors above them, in an office that officially didn't exist, Yoon Sung-hyun watched the feed on his tablet, his expression unreadable. He'd been tracking Greenfield Industries for 3 months, ever since his organization had acquired the building through a shell corporation. Real estate was just one branch of his family's empire, the legitimate face of operations that ran much deeper. He'd noticed Naomi Clark on her first day, watched her navigate the building with cautious confidence, observed how she made herself smaller in elevators, how she smiled at security guards others ignored. There was an intelligence in her eyes, a sharp awareness that suggested she understood more about power dynamics than most people in this building. And now he was watching Marcus Chen systematically destroy her. Yoon picked up his phone. "Jin," he said quietly, "I need everything on Marcus Chen. Employment history, financials, social media, parking tickets, everything. I want it in 2 hours." "Yes, sir," his assistant responded. Yoon ended the call and continued watching the screen. Naomi had retrieved her papers and was walking towards the elevators, her spine straight, despite the tears he could see threatening to fall. Interesting, he thought. She doesn't let them see her break. He understood that strategy intimately. Naomi didn't go to HR. She knew better. Instead, she went to the women's bathroom on the third floor, the one people rarely used, and locked herself in a stall. Her hands shook as she pressed them against her thighs, breathing deeply through her nose. Don't cry at work. Don't give them that satisfaction. Her phone buzzed. A text from her mother. "How's my successful daughter today?" Naomi stared at the message. Successful. Her mother thought she was thriving at this prestigious firm, climbing corporate ladders, breaking barriers. The reality was she spent most days trying to be invisible while simultaneously being hypervisible, the only black plus-sized woman in a sea of thin white and Asian faces. She typed back, "Good, Mom. Busy day." Lies came easier these days. 20 minutes later, she was in the cafeteria, stabbing at a salad she didn't want. Naomi actually liked salad, but eating one at work felt like capitulation, like she was performing health for an audience that had already decided her body was a problem to be solved. "Is that all you're eating?" Naomi looked up to find Jennifer Park, one of the few people who'd been consistently kind to her. Jennifer worked in accounting, was Korean American, and had a sharp wit that Naomi appreciated. "Not that hungry," Naomi said. Jennifer sat down across from her, her own tray loaded with pasta and garlic bread. "Marcus again? How did you—" The whole floor heard him in the hallway. "That man is a walking HR violation." Jennifer speared a piece of pasta aggressively. "Someone needs to check him. Someone with more power than me, you mean? Someone with any power. You could report him." Naomi shook her head. "System doesn't work for people like me, Jen. You know that." Jennifer's expression softened. "I know. I'm sorry. I just hate watching him torture you." "I'm fine." Naomi forced a smile. "Really, I just need to get through the next presentation without incident." But incident found her anyway. Marcus entered the cafeteria with his usual entourage, 3 other senior analysts who laughed at his jokes and mimicked his cruelty like eager students. Naomi tried to focus on her salad, willing herself invisible. "Oh, look," Marcus announced loudly. "The diversity hire is eating rabbit food. Trying to drop a few dozen pounds, Clark?" The cafeteria quieted. 30 pairs of eyes turned toward their table. Naomi's fork paused halfway to her mouth. She looked up at Marcus, at his smirking face, at the men flanking him like bodyguards. Something her grandmother once told her surfaced in her mind. "Baby girl, sometimes you gotta let people show you exactly who they are. Then you decide what to do with that information." "Marcus," Naomi said clearly, "what exactly do you get out of this?" He blinked, surprised she'd spoken. "Excuse me? I'm asking genuinely. What do you personally gain from commenting on my body every single day? Does it make you feel powerful? Does it make your life better?" The cafeteria was dead silent now. Marcus's face reddened. "I'm just saying what everyone's thinking." "No, you're saying what you're thinking, and what you're thinking reveals a lot more about you than it does about me." Naomi stood, gathering her tray. "I'm good at my job. I bring in clients. I exceed my targets. The only problem in this equation is your obsession with my body, which frankly is concerning." "You bitch!" "Naomi!" Jennifer stood quickly, but Naomi was already walking away, her heart pounding so hard she thought she might faint. She'd never confronted him directly before, never spoken back. The adrenaline made her hands shake as she dumped her tray and headed for the elevators. She didn't see Marcus follow her. She didn't see the rage on his face. But the security cameras caught everything, and 7 floors above, Yoon Sung-hyun leaned forward in his chair, his phone already dialing. "Jin," he said, "accelerate that timeline. I want everything on Marcus Chen in 1 hour, not 2. "Sir? And get me building access protocols. I'm making some management changes." Naomi's hands were still shaking when she reached her car that evening. The parking garage was mostly empty. She always stayed late, partly because of work, partly because going home to her empty apartment meant confronting how lonely she actually was. Her key was almost in the lock when she heard footsteps behind her. "You think you can embarrass me in front of the whole office?" Naomi spun around. Marcus stood 15 feet away, his tie loosened, his expression twisted with something that looked like fury mixed with satisfaction. "Marcus, I didn't embarrass you. I simply asked a question. You made me look like an asshole. You made yourself look like an asshole. I just pointed it out." Naomi's voice was steadier than she felt. "Now please, leave me alone." "You know what your problem is, Clark?" Marcus moved closer. "You actually think you belong here. You think your quota-filling position makes you equal to the rest of us who actually earned our spots. I earned my spot. You filled a diversity checkbox." He was 5 feet away now. "Fat black girl who makes the company look inclusive. That's your only value." Naomi's fingers tightened around her keys. "I'm going to my car now. This conversation is over." "Conversation's over when I say it's over, fat pig." The words hit her like physical blows. Fat pig. The same thing her ex-boyfriend had called her before he'd left her for someone thinner. The same thing strangers had yelled from cars. The same thing that echoed in her head when she looked in mirrors. "Move, Marcus. Make me." He was close enough now that she could see the veins in his neck, could smell the whiskey on his breath. This wasn't just workplace harassment anymore. This was something darker, more dangerous. Naomi's hand moved to her phone in her pocket. Marcus's hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. "Who you gonna call? HR? They don't care. The police? What are they gonna do about hurt feelings? Let go of me." Naomi's voice was low, dangerous. Or what? What happened next occurred in seconds but felt like hours. Marcus shoved her, not hard enough to knock her down, but hard enough to send her stumbling backward into her car. Her shoulder hit the side mirror with a crack that sent pain shooting down her arm. "That's for embarrassing you, fat bitch." Then he walked away, whistling, like he'd simply delivered a memo. Naomi stood there, her shoulder throbbing, her whole body shaking with a rage so profound she couldn't speak. She wanted to scream. She wanted to chase him down. She wanted to hurt him the way he'd been hurting her for 3 years. Instead, she got in her car, locked the doors, and allowed herself exactly 5 minutes to cry. Then she drove home, iced her shoulder, and began updating her resume. She didn't know that Marcus Chen's life had just entered its final countdown. She didn't know that the building owner had watched the entire assault on camera. She didn't know that Yoon Sung-hyun had already made 3 phone calls that would end Marcus's career, reputation, and future. All Naomi knew was that she was tired, so tired of fighting just to exist. Naomi called in sick the next day. Her shoulder had bloomed into a purple-black bruise that made lifting her arm painful. She spent the morning in bed, scrolling through job listings and trying not to feel like a failure for wanting to leave. Her phone rang at 10:47 a.m. Unknown number. "Hello? Miss Clark?" A male voice, accented. Korean, she thought. "My name is Jin Park. I work for the building management company that owns Greenfield Industries office space." Naomi sat up, wincing. "Okay, we need to speak with you regarding an incident that occurred in the parking garage last evening. Would you be available to come to our offices today? 10th floor, suite 1001. What incident?" "We have security footage that shows an assault. We take tenant safety very seriously, Miss Clark. This won't take long, I promise." Naomi's mind raced. Someone had seen. Someone was actually taking this seriously. "What time?" she asked. "Would 2 o'clock work for you?" "Yes, I'll be there." She hung up and stared at her phone. Building management, not HR, not the police. Building management had footage of Marcus assaulting her, and they wanted to talk. For the first time in years, Naomi felt something that might have been hope. The 10th floor of the building looked nothing like the floors below it. Where Greenfield Industries had modern glass offices and open floor plans, the 10th floor had dark wood paneling, art that looked expensive, and a receptionist who greeted Naomi with genuine warmth. "Miss Clark, Mr. Park is expecting you. Straight back, last door on the right." Naomi followed the directions, her heels clicking on marble floors. The last door was solid wood with a brass nameplate. Jin Park, Operations Director. She knocked. "Come in." Jin Park was younger than she'd expected, maybe early 30s with sharp features and kind eyes. He stood when she entered, gesturing to a leather chair across from his desk. "Miss Clark, thank you for coming. I know this must be confusing." "A little," Naomi admitted, sitting carefully. Her shoulder still ached. "I'll be direct. Our security system captured footage of Marcus Chen assaulting you in the parking garage last evening." Jin pulled up a video on his computer screen, turning it so she could see. "This is unacceptable behavior from any tenant in our building." Naomi watched the footage, watched Marcus shove her, watched herself hit the car, watched him walk away. Seeing it from this angle made her realize how much worse it could have been. If she'd fallen differently, if she'd hit her head. "I've already reported this to the police," Jin said quietly, "but our building owner wanted to speak with you personally before we move forward with additional actions." "Your building owner?" "Yes. He's very particular about the culture in his properties." Jin checked his watch. "He should be here any moment." As if summoned, the door opened. The man who entered made the spacious office feel smaller. He was tall, maybe 6'2", dressed in a black suit that probably cost more than Naomi's car. Korean, probably in his late 30s, with sharp features and eyes that seemed to catalog everything in a single glance. "Ms. Clark," he said, his accent more pronounced than Jin's. "I'm Yoon Sung-hyun. I own this building." Naomi stood awkwardly, suddenly aware of her casual clothes, jeans and a sweater, appropriate for a sick day but not for meeting a building owner who looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine. "Mr. Yoon," she managed. He gestured for her to sit, taking the chair next to hers instead of behind the desk, a power move that somehow felt less intimidating than it should have. Up close, Naomi could see the faint scar above her left eyebrow, the calluses on her knuckles that suggested he was more than just a businessman in an expensive suit. "I've reviewed the footage of Marcus Chen assaulting you," Yoon said without preamble. "I've also reviewed footage from the past 3 months showing consistent harassment. The hallway incident yesterday, the cafeteria, the conference room presentations where he undermines your work." Naomi's mouth went dry. "You've been watching me?" "I've been monitoring all common areas for tenant safety," Yoon corrected. "But yes, I noticed the pattern of abuse you've been enduring. I want to be clear about something, Ms. Clark. This is my building. What happens here reflects on me. What Marcus Chen has done to you is unacceptable. I appreciate that, but I'm not asking your permission," Yoon interrupted gently. "I'm informing you of actions I'm taking. Marcus Chen's company leases space in my building. That lease has a morality clause regarding treatment of other tenants and employees. He violated that clause. Greenfield Industries will be receiving notice that Marcus Chen is permanently banned from this property, effective immediately." Naomi stared at him. "You're banning him?" "Yes. Additionally, I filed a police report for assault. You're welcome to file your own report as well. Jin can help you with that process." "I don't understand." Naomi's voice cracked slightly. "Why would you go this far for me? You don't know me." Yoon's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. "I know enough. I know you're excellent at your job, despite being undermined constantly. I know you treat the building staff with respect. The security guards speak highly of you. I know you've endured 3 years of abuse with dignity." He paused. "And I know that Marcus Chen is a coward who targets someone he perceives as vulnerable because it makes him feel powerful. Most people don't care about that. I'm not most people, Ms. Clark." The way he said it made him believe him. There was something in his voice, in his posture, that suggested he understood power dynamics in a way most businessmen didn't. This wasn't just about tenant safety or lease violations. This was personal for him somehow. "What happens now?" Naomi asked. "Now you decide what you want to do. You can return to work knowing Marcus is gone, you can file charges, you can leave Greenfield Industries, and I'll make sure you have excellent references." Yoon leaned forward slightly. "What I need you to understand is that you have options. You had options before this meeting, but now you have more options, better options." Naomi's throat tightened. When was the last time someone had given her options instead of ultimatums? "Can I think about it?" Of course. Jin will give his direct number. Call any time. Yoon stood, and she realized the meeting was over. One more thing, Ms. Clark. Don't mistake my intervention for charity. I'm eliminating a problem in my building. What you choose to do with that is entirely up to you. He left without waiting for a response, and Naomi sat there wondering if she'd just imagined the entire conversation. He's intense, Jin said with a slight smile, but he means what he says. Marcus Chen is done. Who is he? Naomi asked. Really? Jin's smile faded slightly. Mr. Yoon is someone who values loyalty and punishes betrayal. That's all you need to know. It wasn't an answer, but it was answer enough. Marcus Chen was fired from Greenfield Industries within 48 hours. The official reason was violation of company policies and building lease agreements. The real reason spread through the office like wildfire. He'd assaulted Naomi Clark, and the building owner had personally demanded his termination. Naomi returned to work on Monday to find her desk covered in flowers and notes from coworkers she'd barely spoken to, support from people who'd watched her suffer in silence for years. It felt hollow. You okay? Jennifer appeared with coffee. The whole office is talking about it. I'm fine. Naomi wasn't fine. She was confused, overwhelmed, and strangely angry. Did you know the building owner has been watching security footage? Everyone with access to cameras watches security footage, Naomi. That's what it's for. But he specifically noticed me, noticed the harassment, and did something about it. That's good, right? Was it good? A stranger had intervened in her life, changed her circumstances, given her power she didn't have before, but she hadn't asked for it, hadn't earned it. It felt like another version of being rescued, and Naomi was tired of needing rescue. I think I'm going to quit, she said suddenly. Jennifer nearly dropped her coffee. What? Why? Marcus is gone. You can actually do your job now without harassment. That's the problem. I shouldn't need a building owner to protect me. I should be able to protect myself. Naomi looked around the office, at the glass walls, the open floor plan, the people who'd watched her suffer and done nothing. This place isn't for me, Jen. It never was. What will you do? I don't know yet, but I need to figure it out on my own terms. Naomi requested a meeting with Yoon Sung-hyun. Jin arranged it for Thursday afternoon. Same office, same leather chairs. Yoon looked unsurprised when she walked in. Miss Clark. Mr. Yoon, thank you for seeing me. You're welcome. How can I help you? Naomi had practiced this speech for 2 days. Now, sitting across from him, the words felt inadequate. I wanted to thank you for intervening with Marcus. What you did, getting him banned, filing the police report, it mattered. You're welcome. But I also need you to understand something. Naomi straightened her spine. I'm quitting Greenfield Industries. Yoon's expression remained neutral. Why? Because I need to prove to myself that I can build something without someone else's protection. What you did was kind, but it also highlighted how powerless I was. I need to fix that. For the first time, something like respect flickered across Yoon's face. That's smart, is it? Yes, power taken is always stronger than power given. Yoon leaned back in his chair. What will you do? I'm not sure yet. I have savings, skills. I've been thinking about consulting, helping small businesses with their financial projections, maybe specifically helping Black women entrepreneurs who face the same barriers I have. That's a good market. Underserved. Yoon was quiet for a moment. If you need initial capital or connections, let me know. No, Naomi said it firmly. Thank you, but no. I need to do this myself. Yoon smiled then, a real smile that transformed his face from intimidating to almost handsome. Smart woman, but the offer stands if you change your mind. Can I ask you something? Naomi said. Why did you care, really? Yoon considered the question carefully. I grew up understanding that power without purpose is just violence. What Marcus did to you was violence disguised as workplace culture. I have power. I chose to use it with purpose. He paused. Also, I don't like bullies. Never have. It was the most honest answer she'd received from anyone in a long time. I see how you handle power, Naomi said slowly. Now, I'm going to learn to handle mine. Good, Yoon said. That's exactly what you should do. Naomi gave her 2-week notice the next day. HR seemed relieved, easier to let her leave quietly than deal with potential lawsuits from the Marcus situation. They offered her a severance package that was suspiciously generous, and Naomi suspected Yoon had something to do with it. She didn't ask. Those 2 weeks were strange. Coworkers who'd ignored her for years suddenly wanted to have lunch, to hear her plans, to tell her they'd always known she was destined for bigger things. Naomi smiled politely and kept her thoughts to herself. On her last day, Jennifer took her to lunch at a small Korean restaurant near the office. "I'm going to miss you," Jennifer said over bibimbap. "You made that place bearable. You made it bearable. I was just surviving. And now? Now I'm going to try thriving." Naomi mixed her rice and vegetables. "I registered my business yesterday. Clark Consulting. I already have 2 clients lined up. Small businesses owned by Black women who need help with financial planning." "That's amazing. How did you find clients so fast?" "Community connections. There's a network out there I never tapped into because I was too busy trying to prove myself in white corporate spaces." Naomi felt something loosen in her chest. "I should have done this years ago." "You did it now. That's what matters." They finished lunch, and Jennifer hugged her goodbye on the sidewalk. Naomi watched her friend walk back to the office building, that glass and steel monument to other people's dreams, and felt nothing but relief that she was leaving. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jin Park. "Mr. Yoon wanted me to pass along his congratulations on your new business. He also wanted you to have his direct number in case you ever need anything. No strings attached." A phone number followed. Naomi stared at it for a long moment. Then she saved it and sent back a simple "thank you." 6 weeks after leaving Greenfield Industries, Naomi's home office had transformed into a command center. She had 4 clients now, all Black women entrepreneurs trying to navigate the hostile waters of small business ownership. The work was satisfying in a way corporate consulting had never been. She was reviewing a pitch deck when her doorbell rang. A courier stood on her doorstep with a thick manila envelope. "Naomi Clark?" "Yes." "Signature required." She signed, confused, and took the envelope inside. It was from a law firm she didn't recognize. Inside was a letter and a check. The letter was formal, legal language that boiled down to Marcus Chen had agreed to a settlement. He admitted to harassment and assault. He was paying restitution. The check was for $50,000. Naomi sat down hard on her couch. $50,000. Money Marcus had agreed to pay because Yoon Sung-hyun had made sure he had no other choice. She thought about what Jin had said. Mr. Yoon is someone who values loyalty and punishes betrayal. This wasn't just about banning Marcus from a building. Yoon had systematically dismantled his life, gotten him fired, filed charges, and apparently secured a financial settlement that would hurt. It was the kind of justice the system rarely provided to women who looked like her. Naomi picked up her phone and called the number Jin had sent her. Yoon answered on the second ring. "Ms. Clark, I received a check." "Good. Marcus's lawyers were very motivated to settle. You did this. I provided evidence of his behavior. The legal system did the rest." A pause. "Though I may have encouraged his lawyer to be generous. $50,000 is more than generous. It's less than you deserve for 3 years of abuse, but it's what I could get without a protracted court case." Yoon's voice was calm, matter-of-fact. "Use it however you want. Start a foundation. Expand your business. Take a vacation. It's yours." Naomi was quiet for a moment. "Why do you keep doing this?" "Doing what?" "Giving me power." "I'm not giving you anything, Ms. Clark. I'm removing obstacles. What you do with that cleared path is entirely your decision." Another pause. "How is your business?" "Growing. I have 4 clients and a waiting list." "Good. You're smart to focus on underserved markets. Most consultants chase the same corporate clients and wonder why they can't differentiate themselves." They talked for another 10 minutes, about business strategy, about market positioning, about nothing and everything. When they hung up, Naomi realized she'd just had a normal conversation with a man who'd destroyed her abuser's life. She looked at the check again. $50,000. An idea began forming. 3 months after leaving Greenfield Industries, Naomi stood in front of 20 Black women in a community center conference room. They were entrepreneurs, freelancers, consultants, women trying to build businesses in a system designed to exclude them. I started Clark Consulting because I was tired of begging for space at tables where I wasn't wanted, Naomi said. But then I realized something. We don't need their tables. We can build our own. She clicked to the next slide in her presentation. That's why I'm launching the Rebuild Foundation, free financial consulting, business planning, and mentorship for Black women entrepreneurs, funded entirely through my consulting profits and private donations. The room erupted in applause. After the presentation, women lined up to sign up for services to share their own stories of workplace discrimination and entrepreneurial struggles. Naomi listened to each one, took notes, promised follow-up meetings. One woman, older than the others, waited until the end. My daughter worked at a tech company that treated her like garbage, made her feel small. She quit last year and started her own software consultancy. She's thriving now, but she still has nightmares about that place. I understand that, Naomi said quietly. No, you don't. Not yet. The woman smiled sadly. The nightmares don't stop just because you leave. The anger doesn't disappear just because you build something new. You're doing important work, but make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. What do you mean? Are you building this foundation to help other women, or are you building it to prove something to the people who hurt you? The question haunted Naomi for days. Naomi called Yoon on a Friday evening. Can we meet? Of course. My office or neutral ground? Neutral. There's a coffee shop near my apartment. They met at 7 p.m. The coffee shop nearly empty. Yoon arrived in jeans and a sweater. The first time she'd seen him in casual clothes. He looked younger, less intimidating, almost normal. Thank you for meeting me, Naomi said. You sounded serious on the phone. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I need to be honest with you about something. Naomi wrapped her hands around her coffee cup. Someone asked me if I was building my foundation to help women or to prove something to the people who hurt me, and I realized I don't know the answer. Yoon was quiet for a long moment. Does it matter? Yes. No. I don't know. Naomi looked up at him. I keep thinking about what you said, that power taken is stronger than power given. But what if I'm not really taking power? What if I'm just running from places where I felt powerless? Running towards something and running away from something can be the same motion, Yoon said. The direction is what matters. Are you running toward helping other women or running away from Marcus Chen? Both? Then you're honest. Most people won't admit that. Yoon leaned forward. You want to know something about me, Miss Clark? I own buildings and businesses. I employ hundreds of people. I have more money than I'll ever spend. And you know why? Why? Because I grew up poor in a dangerous neighborhood, and powerful men made my mother's life hell. They took from her, disrespected her, treated her like she was nothing. His voice was calm, but his eyes were dark. Everything I built partially to help people like my mother, and partially to prove I was better than the men who hurt her. Both motivations coexist. Both are valid. Naomi felt something shift in her understanding. So it's okay that I'm angry? It's okay that you're angry. It's okay that you want revenge. It's okay that you want to help others. Yoon smiled slightly. What matters is what you do with all of that. You're building something that helps real people. That's what counts. Did you destroy Marcus Chen for me, or because you were angry? Both, Yoon said without hesitation. I saw someone hurting you, and I had the power to stop it. I also hate men who abuse women because they think they can get away with it. Both things can be true. They sat in silence for a while, drinking coffee, watching the street outside darken as evening turned to night. Can I ask you something personal? Naomi said finally. Yes. Why did you really notice me? Out of everyone in that building, why me? Yoon's expression was unreadable. You want the truth? Yes. Because you reminded me of my mother. The way you carried yourself with dignity even when people tried to strip it from you. The way you made yourself smaller in elevators so others would be comfortable. The way you smiled at people who society taught to be invisible. He paused. My mother did that. She worked as a cleaning woman in office buildings. People treated her like furniture, but she never lost her grace. Naomi's throat tightened. Where is she now? She passed away 6 years ago. Cancer. Yoon's voice was flat, controlled. She died never knowing that I'd become successful, never knowing that I'd avenged every slight, every insult, every moment of disrespect she endured. I'm sorry. Don't be. She taught me that power without purpose is just cruelty. Everything I do with purpose. He looked directly at her. I didn't save you, Miss Clark. I removed an obstacle. What you did after that, building your business, starting your foundation, that's all you. That's your power. Naomi felt tears threatening. Thank you for saying that. It's the truth. They finished their coffee and walked outside together. The night was cool, the street quiet. Can I ask you something advice? Naomi asked. Of course. Stop questioning your motivations. Stop wondering if you're running toward or away from something. Just run. Build, create, help people. The rest will sort itself out. Is that what you do? Every single day. Yoon smiled, that rare, real smile that transformed his face. And for what it's worth, I think you're going to change a lot of lives with your foundation. Maybe even more than you realize. They parted ways on the sidewalk, and Naomi watched him disappear into the night. She realized she'd probably never fully understand him, this man who'd destroyed her abuser and then stepped back to let her build her own empire. But maybe that was okay. Maybe some people were meant to be catalysts rather than companions. The Rebuild Foundation had grown beyond anything Naomi imagined. 25 clients, 3 employees, a waiting list of 60 women, articles in local business journals about the consultant who's changing the game for Black women entrepreneurs. Naomi's home office had become inadequate, so she'd rented actual office space, small but professional, in a building on the east side of the city. Not Yoon's building. That had been deliberate. She was reviewing a business plan when her phone rang. Unknown number. This is Naomi. Miss Clark, this is Detective Sarah Martinez with the District Attorney's Office. I'm calling about Marcus Chen. Naomi's stomach dropped. What about him? His criminal trial for assault is scheduled for next month. We'd like you to testify. I thought the settlement meant there wouldn't be a trial. The civil settlement is separate from criminal charges. Mr. Yoon's evidence was compelling enough that the DA filed charges independently. Detective Martinez's voice was kind but firm. We have security footage, medical records, and testimony from coworkers about the harassment, but your testimony would strengthen the case significantly. Naomi closed her eyes. She'd spent 6 months building a new life, creating distance from that version of herself who'd cowered in parking garages. Did she really want to go back? Can I think about it? Of course, but we need an answer within 2 weeks. After hanging up, Naomi sat staring at her computer screen. She'd moved on, built something new. Was testifying moving forward or looking back? Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I heard the DA called. Whatever you decide is the right decision. Yoon. Naomi stared at the message. How did he know? Of course he knew. This was a man who'd orchestrated Marcus's complete destruction. He probably had contacts in every office in the city. She typed back, "How do I decide?" 3 dots appeared. Then, ask yourself if testifying serves your purpose or someone else's purpose. Then decide accordingly. Naomi spent 2 weeks wrestling with the decision. She talked to Jennifer, to her mother, to the women at her foundation. Everyone had opinions. You should testify to give other women courage, one woman said. You should refuse to testify because you don't owe the system anything, another argued. Do what's best for your healing, her mother advised. But none of them understood the real question. Was testifying about justice or was it about revenge? She called Yoon. I'm considering testifying at Marcus's trial, she said without preamble. I know. What do you need from me? Honestly, I don't know. Maybe I just need to talk it through with someone who understands power dynamics. Where are you? My office. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He arrived in 19 minutes, somehow knowing exactly which building without her giving an address. This time he wore a suit, back to the intimidating businessman mode. Nice space, he said, looking around her small office. You're doing well. The foundation is doing well. I'm doing okay. Naomi gestured to the chair across from her desk. Can I ask you something honestly? Always. Did you file those criminal charges because you thought it would help me, or because you wanted to punish Marcus? Yoon considered the question carefully. Both. I filed charges because men like Marcus don't stop unless they're forced to stop. The settlement hurt his wallet. The criminal charges will hurt his future. He'll have a record. He'll struggle to find employment. He'll spend years rebuilding what he destroyed in minutes. He paused. But I also filed them because I thought you deserved to see justice done, even if you didn't have the resources to fight for it yourself. That's the problem, Naomi said quietly. I didn't fight for it myself. You fought for it. If I testify now, am I taking power or just being part of your revenge? Yoon leaned forward, his eyes intense. Let me tell you something about power, Miss Clark. Power isn't about who starts the fight. It's about who controls the narrative. Right now, you control the narrative. You decide if you testify. You decide what you say if you do testify. You decide how this story ends. But you started this. I started removing the obstacle. You're deciding what to build in the space I cleared. That's your power. He stood, moving to her window that overlooked the street. You know what your real question is? What? You're asking if testifying makes you weak, like you needed someone else to save you. But that's the wrong question. The right question is, does testifying serve the woman you're becoming? Naomi felt something click into place. You think I should testify. I think you should do whatever serves your purpose. Yoon turned back to face her. If testifying helps you close that chapter and fully commit to your new life, testify. If testifying feels like reopening wounds that have healed, don't. But don't base your decision on whether people think you're strong or weak. Base it on whether it moves you forward. And if I choose not to testify, then Marcus still goes to trial with video evidence and witness testimony. Your presence isn't required for conviction, it would just be nice to have. The DA will be disappointed, but respectful. Yoon smiled slightly. And I'll respect whatever decision you make. After he left, Naomi sat at her desk thinking about his words. Does testifying serve the woman you're becoming? She picked up her phone and called Detective Martinez. I'll testify, Naomi said, but I want to be clear about something. I'm not testifying because I need closure. I'm testifying because other women need to see that men like Marcus face consequences. That's my only reason. That's reason enough, Detective Martinez said. The trial lasted 3 days. Naomi testified on day 2, wearing a navy suit that made her feel powerful. She told the truth, calmly, precisely, without emotional embellishment. Marcus's lawyer tried to make her seem vindictive, tried to suggest she'd fabricated events for attention. The video footage made his arguments look ridiculous. When Naomi left the stand, she felt nothing but relief. Not triumph, not anger, just the quiet satisfaction of having told her truth and let the system decide what to do with it. Marcus was convicted on all counts: assault, harassment, stalking. He'd face probation, community service, mandatory therapy, and a criminal record that would follow him forever. Outside the courthouse, Naomi found Yoon waiting by his car. You did well in there, he said. You watched? I was in the gallery, back row. He opened his car door, then paused. Can I tell you something, Ms. Clark? You keep calling me Ms. Clark like we're strangers. My name is Naomi. Something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe, or pleasure. Naomi, can I tell you something? Yes. When I first saw you in that building, being torn down by a mediocre man, I saw someone who hadn't realized her own power yet. Today, watching you testify with that calm strength, you found it. You don't need me to clear obstacles anymore. You can clear them yourself. Naomi felt her chest tighten. Are you saying goodbye? I'm saying you've graduated from needing protection to being someone who can protect others. That foundation you built, those women you're helping, that's real power. That's lasting power. Yoon smiled. I'm not saying goodbye. I'm saying congratulations. He got in his car and drove away, leaving Naomi standing on the courthouse steps feeling strangely bereft. 3 weeks after the trial, Naomi received an email from Marcus. Her first instinct was to delete it unread, but curiosity won. Ms. Clark, my lawyer advised against this email, but I need to say it anyway. I'm sorry. Not because I was convicted, but because I was genuinely horrible to you for years. There's no excuse. I've started therapy, court-mandated, but actually helpful, and I'm realizing how much damage I caused to you, and probably others. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even deserve a response. I just wanted you to know that what happened in that courtroom changed me. Watching you testify with such dignity while I sat there knowing I'd tried to destroy that dignity, it broke something in me, something that needed to break. I hope your consulting business thrives. I hope you never have to deal with someone like me again. I hope you find peace. Marcus Chen. Naomi read it 3 times. Then she deleted it without responding. Not because she was angry, not because she hadn't forgiven him, but because Marcus Chen, his apology, his growth, his redemption arc, was no longer her concern. She'd testified, closed that chapter, and moved on. His journey was his own. She opened her calendar and focused on what mattered. Client meetings, foundation events, the workshop she was leading next week on financial planning for creative entrepreneurs. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. "Dinner tonight? I have news." Naomi typed back, "Absolutely. 7 p.m.? Perfect." And Naomi, I'm proud of you. The Rebuild Foundation's 6-month celebration was held in a community center that 50 Black women filled with energy, laughter, and business talk. Naomi moved through the crowd, listening to success stories from her clients. "I landed my first $50K contract," one woman said, beaming. "I hired my first employee," another announced. "I told my toxic boss to fuck off and started freelancing," a third laughed. "Best decision of my life." These were victories Naomi had helped create, not through revenge or retaliation, but through practical support, financial planning, and community building. This was power that lasted. "Excuse me, Naomi?" She turned to find a young Black woman, maybe 25, with natural hair and anxious eyes. "Yes? I'm Jasmine. I heard about your foundation through a friend. I'm working at a tech company right now, and—" She trailed off, her eyes filling with tears. "They treat me like I'm stupid, like I only got hired because of diversity quotas. My manager makes comments about my hair, my weight, the way I talk, and I don't know what to do because I need this job, but I feel like I'm dying inside." Naomi's chest tightened. She knew this story. She'd lived this story. "Come with me," she said gently, leading Jasmine to a quiet corner. "Tell me everything." They talked for 30 minutes. Naomi listened, took notes, asked strategic questions. By the end, Jasmine had a plan. Document everything, build a backup financial cushion, start developing her own freelance client base while still employed, and give herself permission to leave when she was ready. "You're not trapped," Naomi said firmly. "You feel trapped because they want you to feel trapped, but you have skills, intelligence, and options. My foundation can help you build those options until you're ready to use them." Jasmine hugged her, crying. "Thank you. I was starting to think something was wrong with me." "Nothing is wrong with you. Everything is wrong with systems that make talented people feel small." Naomi handed her a tissue. "But here's what I need you to understand. You have to fight for yourself. I can give you tools, resources, support, but ultimately, you have to decide you're worth fighting for. You have to decide your dignity matters more than their approval." "How did you learn that?" Naomi thought about Marcus, about Greenfield Industries, about the years she'd spent making herself smaller. She thought about Yoon removing obstacles but making her walk through the cleared space herself. "I learned it by leaving," Naomi said simply. "I learned it by building something new instead of waiting for the old system to change. And I learned it by accepting help when it was offered, then using that help to become strong enough to help others." That night, Naomi called Yoon. They'd texted occasionally over the past few months, but hadn't spoken directly since the trial. "Naomi," he answered. "How was your foundation event?" "Good. Really good. We helped 50 women today, and I think at least a dozen of them left ready to change their lives." She paused. "I wanted to thank you." "For what?" "For showing me what power looks like when it's used with purpose. For clearing obstacles but making me strong enough to walk through the cleared space myself. For understanding that real help isn't just rescuing someone, it's giving them tools to rescue themselves." Yoon was quiet for a moment. "You're welcome, but you did the hard part. I just removed one abusive man from one building. You're changing the entire system for dozens of women." "Different kinds of power," Naomi said, "but both necessary." "Both necessary," Yoon agreed. "Are you happy, Naomi?" The question surprised her. "Yes, I think I am." Not perfectly happy. I still have moments of anger about what happened, still have days where I feel that old powerlessness creeping back. But overall, yes, I'm building something that matters. That's all any of us can do. What about you? Are you happy? Another pause. I'm satisfied. Happy is complicated for people like me, but satisfied? Yes. I use my power for purpose. I help people who need help. I punish people who deserve punishment. It's enough. They talked for another hour about everything and nothing. Business strategies, difficult clients, the challenges of building something meaningful in a world designed to tear down people like them. When they hung up, Naomi realized she'd stopped seeing Yoon as her savior or even as a powerful benefactor. He was simply someone who understood power and chose to use it wisely. They'd probably never be friends. Their worlds were too different, their experiences too separate, but they understood each other in a way most people never would. 1 month after the foundation event, Naomi received a letter. Actual paper letter, not email, with no return address. Inside was a single sheet of expensive stationery with a handwritten note. Naomi, I'm leaving the city for business that will keep me overseas for at least 2 years. Before I go, I wanted to tell you something I've never told anyone else. My mother spent her entire life being made small by powerful men. She died believing she'd failed because she never built anything lasting, never left a legacy. But she was wrong. She left me, and I built an empire. Partially to prove those men wrong, but mostly to honor her memory. You remind me of her, not in your circumstances, but in your refusal to let cruelty destroy your grace. Watching you build your foundation, watching you help other women avoid the pain you endured, it's the closest I've come to feeling like my mother's legacy is alive somewhere besides my own memories. I don't need acknowledgement or gratitude. I don't need to be part of your story going forward. I just wanted you to know that removing Marcus Chen wasn't about you needing rescue. It was about me needing to prove that men like him don't get to win. You've proven they don't have to win in a much more lasting way, by building something that helps their victims become victors. Keep building, Naomi. Keep helping. Keep showing other black women that power isn't given or taken. It's claimed and created. Respectfully, Yoon. Naomi read the letter 3 times, then carefully folded it and put it in her desk drawer. Not because she needed to keep remembering Yoon, but because the letter wasn't really about him. It was about her understanding of power, how it could be destructive or constructive, how it could tear down or build up. The same force that destroyed Marcus Chen had helped create the Rebuild Foundation. Power wasn't good or bad. It was a tool. The purpose behind it made all the difference. The Rebuild Foundation occupied a full floor of office space now. Naomi had 5 full-time employees, had helped over 200 black women entrepreneurs, and had recently secured grant funding to expand into 3 other cities. She was sitting in her private office, actual private office with walls and a door, reviewing the annual report when her assistant knocked. "Naomi, there's someone here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's important." "Who is it?" "Her name is Sun-hee Yoon." Naomi's heart skipped. "Send her in." The woman who entered was maybe 65, elegant in the way that suggested old money, with kind eyes and a warm smile. She looked nothing like Yoon and everything like him simultaneously. "Ms. Clark?" She extended her hand. "I'm Sun-hee Yoon, Sung-hyun's aunt. Please, call me Naomi. Sit down." Naomi gestured to the chair across from her desk. "Is Yoon okay?" "He's fine. Thriving overseas, actually. He doesn't know I'm here." Sun-hee settled into the chair with grace. "I came because I wanted to meet the woman my nephew spoke so highly of before he left." "He spoke about me?" "Constantly. You made quite an impression." Sun-hee smiled. "He told me what Marcus Chen did to you. He told me how you testified, how you built this foundation, how you turned pain into purpose. That's a rare gift. I had help. You had obstacles removed. What you built in that cleared space was entirely your own." Sun-hee looked around the office. "My nephew doesn't often admire people, Naomi. He respects power, But admiration requires more than that. It requires seeing someone transform themselves. Why are you telling me this? Because Sung-hyun left without saying goodbye to you properly. He's not good at that, at acknowledging when people matter to him. So I'm saying it for him. Sun-hee reached into her purse and pulled out a small box. He left this for you before he went overseas. Asked me to give it to you when your foundation reached its first anniversary. Naomi opened the box. Inside was a pendant, a phoenix rising from flames, carved from jade. He said to tell you that you rebuild yourself more beautifully than before, Sun-hee said quietly, and that watching you do it reminded him why power is worth having. Naomi's eyes stung with tears she refused to shed. Tell him thank you for everything. You can tell him yourself when he returns. But until then, keep building, Naomi. Keep helping. Keep showing people that strength isn't about never falling down. It's about how beautifully you rise. After Sun-hee left, Naomi sat holding the phoenix pendant, thinking about transformation and power, and the complicated man who'd destroyed her abuser, and then stepped back to let her build her own empire. She'd never loved him. He'd never loved her. But they understood each other in a way that transcended romance or gratitude or any simple emotional label. He'd shown her what power could do. She'd shown him what power could create. Both lessons were equally valuable. Naomi stood at the podium in a hotel ballroom, looking out at 300 black women entrepreneurs attending the Rebuild Foundation's first annual conference. Her keynote speech was simple, direct, everything she wished someone had told her years ago. I used to think power meant never needing help, Naomi said. I thought accepting help made me weak, that real strength meant suffering alone until I broke through on my own. I was wrong. The room was silent, attentive. Real power is knowing when to accept help and what to do with it. It's understanding that someone removing an obstacle from your path doesn't make you weak. Walking through that cleared space and building something meaningful makes you strong. She thought about Marcus pushing her into her car, about Yoon destroying Marcus's life, about the foundation she'd built in the aftermath. A year and a half ago, I was being abused at work, called a fat pig, assaulted in a parking garage, made to feel like I'd never amount to anything. Naomi's voice was steady. Someone with power saw what was happening and intervened. He destroyed my abuser's life, filed criminal charges, secured a settlement. He removed every obstacle in my path. But here's what he didn't do. He didn't build this foundation. He didn't help 200 women start businesses. He didn't create jobs or change lives or show you all that power can be constructive instead of destructive. I did that. You're doing that. We're doing that together. The room erupted in applause. So here's what I want you to understand. It's okay to accept help. It's okay to let someone clear your path if they offer. But what you build in that cleared space, that's yours. That's your power. That's your legacy. After the speech, women lined up to talk to her, to share their own stories of workplace abuse and entrepreneurial triumph. Naomi listened to each one, took notes, made connections, built her network of women who understood that power wasn't about never falling. It was about what you built after you rose. Late that night, Naomi sat in her hotel room and pulled up her email. There was one from an unknown address with no subject line. She opened it. Naomi, I heard about your conference. 300 attendees, keynote speech that's already going viral on social media. You've built something remarkable. I won't be returning to the city. My work keeps me overseas, and honestly, I prefer it that way. But I wanted you to know that watching your foundation grow, even from a distance, has been one of my greatest satisfactions. You asked me once why I noticed you. I told you part of the truth, that you reminded me of my mother. But there was another reason. I noticed you because you had the kind of strength that doesn't announce itself, the kind that survives years of abuse and doesn't become abusive in return, the kind that builds instead of destroys. That's rare. That's valuable. I destroyed Marcus Chen because destroying men like him is what I do. But you created the Rebuild Foundation because creating opportunity for others is who you are. We both used power, but yours will last longer than mine. Don't respond to this email. This is goodbye, and goodbye should be clean. Keep building. Keep helping. Keep proving that power used with purpose can change the world. Yoon. Naomi read the email 3 times. Then she closed her laptop and looked out at the city lights below her hotel window. She wouldn't respond. He was right. Goodbye should be clean. But she would keep building, keep helping, keep using the power she'd claimed for herself to create opportunities for others. That was her purpose now. Not revenge, not proving Marcus wrong, not gratitude to Yoon. Just purpose. Clean, clear, powerful purpose. Naomi picked up her phone and opened the group chat with her foundation team. Tomorrow, let's start planning next year's conference. I want to reach 500 women. Are you in? 5 responses came immediately. Absolutely. Let's do it. I'm in. Already planning. Hell yes. Naomi smiled and set down her phone. Outside, the city sprawled before her, full of women who needed help, who needed community, who needed someone to show them that pain could transform into purpose. She would be that someone. Not because Yoon cleared her path, not because Marcus taught her what cruelty looked like, but because she decided after falling to rise with intention. That was real power. That was her legacy. And it was only the beginning. As we close this chapter of Naomi's journey, I need to know, what did you feel watching her transform? Did this story move you? Did it challenge you? Drop a comment below telling me your truth. Where are you watching from? What's your own story of claiming power? And if this journey touched your heart, hit that subscribe button for love and tension, because stories like Naomi's, stories of quiet strength and purposeful transformation, are what we're all about. Don't just watch. Be part of this community. Subscribe, comment, share your truth. Let's build something powerful together. The end.